My name is Anya, and I don't know if you can see him, but here is Sean the harp, Shawnee the harp, and together we are the flouting harper. Let me just stick him here for a little bit. No, there he is. Together we are the flouting harper, and we are walking from here to Jerusalem. Now, yesterday, I haven't eaten yet, so I'm going to do that now as I talk, because I'm finally getting my appetite back. Yesterday morning, I left Mill Street early enough. I think this camera just isn't great. Maybe the other way around is better. I don't know. I'll try that tomorrow. I'm too tired to do that now. Okay, so on the 2nd of April, Sean and I left Clonakilty to go and walk to Rome. Yesterday, I left Mill Street early in the morning. And there were like bad weather predictions, and I was dithering about, I had taken a day off in Mill Street, and I was dithering. I was thinking, I don't want to be out in bad weather. And then I thought, fake it. Sure, I'm a pilgrim. So whatever happens, happens. Move on, pilgrim, walk. Walk, pilgrim, walk. So at around 9:30, I left Mill Street. Had Sean packed up in all his rain gear, had my rain gear to the ready, and we headed out over the road to Mushroom Mountain. So I kept my eye on the light bits in the sky, because that's what I tend to do. And in my head it's going, no, really no, not rain, not rain, not rain. Now I had to walk back a little bit where I had arrived into town. Now the whole thing is that I had 2 days ahead of me. And the route Duhallow Way, 47 kilometers from Mill Street to Breen. And what I realized is that there was absolutely nothing in between. So I knew I had to camp out. Like literally nothing. There is the Mill Street Park was Thingy Park is where I came by. Like it was used for orienteering and things like that. It has all these wild spaces, and that's already like a good bit out. Not only is it a good bit out, it's a good bit uphill. And as I walk out of town, I meet this woman, and she goes, "You're heading where?" And I said, "St. John's Well, and then up Mushroom Mountain." And she goes like, "You can't go there, like that's not safe." And I'm thinking, oh man, is this a sign? Is this a sign that I shouldn't go there? And then I'm thinking, no, I'm already packed up. Like I was dithering all morning and talking about it, so I'm gonna go. So I kept my eye on the bright bit in the sky, and then I had to start climbing. And this old man came by, and he's waving at me and flashing his lights and going, yay! And I'm thinking, okay, that's okay. And then I came to the top, and oh man, then I had to come down again over this beautiful little path. Then I promised myself, okay, go sit down wherever you can, wherever you can get rest 47 kilometers in 2 days. If you can do over 20 in one day, that would be really good. So I'm thinking, nice and easy, easy does it. That's the way to do it. So I'm heading out and go back over the hill, and my head literally is in the clouds, like looking at the clouds, seeing where the wind is coming from, how they're moving across the sky, and I'm saying to Sean, listen, man, I'd like for you to stay dry. So we get to the side of the park, and I'm still looking at the same space, and it's still light. It's raining, but it's not heavy rain like the day before in Mill Street. I'd really, like, every time I looked at the sky, it was like dark, and I'm looking to the sides, and Carrow Mountain, I'm looking back and towards Mill Street, and I'm thinking, that does not look good. Like very low clouds, and they're hugging like the tops of those hills. And I'm thinking, oh, that's terrifying. But I'm going on, and then I see that there's loads of culture vehicles inside the entrance of the Mill Street Park. So I go in for a little bit of shelter and to check the route. And I say to one of the culture workers there, I said, "Is it safe to go up?" And he goes like, "Yeah, no, they burnt the side of the mountain got burnt there the other day. But sure, it's nice and mild." And I wasn't too crazy. Um, and I think like they were doing exercises, so they were having a some kind of open day. The fire brigade was there, all the culture workers were there, and a whole lot of other people. And it was really, really busy in there. So I'm standing there, and yeah, it was mild enough, but still it was wet. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to go and do it. And I'm thinking, but I'm not doing the bit over the rough bit the first bit. And I'll go to St. John's Well. But by the time I get up the path, I see that the St. John's Well is actually underneath me, and I can't get from St. John's Well up to the path. And then I spot my very first walker ahead of me. I was like, oh my God, there's another person walking. To Holloway, here we go. Like on the St. Finbarr's Way, there was nobody. And when I left Gugambara of the Brethne Way, there was nothing there either. So I was very excited to see another walker. And yeah, I'm looking back, and there's a helicopter, and there's fire, and I'd asked the culture worker, and he said, "Ah, yeah, no, sure, like when the mountain was burning, sure, there were people up there, it was grand." I'm going, okay. So, but I'm thinking, sure, there's somebody else in front of me, so it must be okay. And I'm walking, and I'm walking, and then I see the person coming back, and he, I'm chatting to him. I'm saying, "How are you? And do you know what it looks like up there?" And he goes like, "Sure. Normally I come from the other side, but it was really busy." And he's telling me about what they're doing down in the park. And I'm looking down, and I'm seeing St. John's Well. And I'm going like, "Oh, what am I like?" And he says, "Sure, sure. Go up and have a look." Um, uh, Talk a bit of pilgrimage, and he asks me what's in my pack, and I say it's the harp, and if you know, a little chat, and all is going well. So I go further up, and the further I go, the more water there's coming down, because of course the day before it had been really, really, really raining quite hard. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, like all that water, it kind of makes everything slippery, and it was boggy, but it wasn't really, really bad. So I push on, and then I look up, and in the cloud, like I'm actually in the cloud, and there's water coming down everywhere around me, and I'm getting really, really, really wet. Like, now my feet were still dry, and the poncho was working fine, and the harp felt okay actually, but I'm looking around and I'm on a ledge. I'm on this really, really narrow little strip, and all of a sudden I have to like really take big steps, and I'm struggling for balance, and I'm looking back and I'm thinking, there's no way I can go back down now. Like, I've come all the way up here, you have to push on. But then you have to go for a bit over open ground, and oh my God, it was just muck everywhere. So I really had to use my walking stick and feel every clump before putting my foot down, because there was so much water and it was coming down. It was like coming down toward me all the time. And I'm thinking, will I go back? Will I go back? And I'm thinking, no, 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 you're up here now. Like, if you go back, you have to go back over that ledge. There's no way I can't look down a mountain and walk like that. Then I need, I can't do that. So I push on, I'm still in the cloud, and it is so mucky. Yeah, Mushroom Mountain. There you go. Like, it was impressive. And I was in that cloud, and the water kept coming down. And then you can see the seafin on the other side. And then you walk out into conifer woods. And I was just so zonked. Like the harp, I was really proud of myself because I didn't slip, I didn't fall. I kept my balance throughout, so he didn't get wet. The rain gear worked really well for him. And yeah, there we are, standing in the cloud with all the rain. And I'm thinking, now what? Now you're up here. How much kilometers have we done? And I'm thinking, I can't even get my phone out because my hands are really cold and everything is slippery, and I don't want to drop it. So I just follow the little man. I keep going, and then we come to another incline. And I'm thinking, I can't do another one. I can't. Like, I'd been at it for 6, 7 hours by then, and the rain is not letting up. So I started looking for somewhere to hang the hammock because I wasn't gonna find any houses, not up there. And I realized it's all windmills and forestry. So I was thinking, if I push on, I might end up in one of the open spaces. There is no way I can find shelter there. So if I stay under the conifers, maybe I have a bit of shelter. So I walked into one of the little side paths and found 2 trees that I thought were close enough together. I hang up the hammock and the tarpaulin, and I just cannot make it work. It's too low. So I'm there like cursing, because I'm getting wetter and wetter and wetter, and I can't work in the rain gear. And the harp is sitting under half a conifer, and the conifers are like my finger is all open. Here it's all, I don't know if you can see it, like I got myself there, and in the sides of my fingers here and in between fingers. And I'm thinking, no, this is no good. This is no good. And I take the whole thing down and I move it to 2 trees that are actually bigger, but I have to really, really stand in the conifers, and they're pricking me everywhere. And I get the whole thing up, and it's a little bit on the high side, but I'm thinking, right, I'm getting into my hammock now, because if I don't, I'll just get too cold, because I was cold and it was still raining. The moment I climb into my hammock, the rain stops. But by then, I am soaking wet, and I don't dare to take the rain gear off the harp to go find dry clothes. And I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do? And I'm in the hammock and I'm thinking, just get into your sleeping bag, like try and get warm. And I'm thinking, you can't do that with the wet clothes, like it won't work. But I'm so tired, like it really drained me. So I got into the sleeping bag with the wet, wrung out whatever was there, got everything that I had, put it all on, got into the sleeping bag. rolled myself up into a ball, and then put the beefy bag over the sleeping bag so that it was insulated. But no matter what I did, the tarpaulin, I couldn't bring it down low enough. So one part of my back and my bottom kept being cold, kept being cold. And I was wet, of course, so I was shivering, like shivering. I'm thinking, okay, shivering is good, shivering is good. As long as it's not hypothermia, just keep your hands warm, keep your hands warm. And I let the people who keep an eye on where I am, I let them know that I had bedded down and that I was safe, but that I was really, really, really cold, and it was just tough. It was tough because I was wet. Now this is going to be a thing, right? Because if I've got the rain gear over the harp, I have to find a way that I put up the tarpaulin and then put the harp underneath it. But even the ground, it was soggy. It was just so wet. So I didn't dare put the open bag on the ground for fear of the harp getting wet. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, who comes first? This is not an airplane, it is the harp. So I had a very shivery night, again with a lot of cursing, a lot of moving about. And then I woke up. I finally fell asleep at around 3 o'clock. Through the tarpaulin, I could see the moon, and then the moon disappeared, and I kind of fell asleep. And then I woke up at the dawn chorus. It was stunning. The dawn chorus was so beautiful, but I kept having cramps because it was so cold. My feet kept cramping, and my lower legs kept cramping because I couldn't stretch or do anything because it was just wet. And so the dawn chorus woke me up, and I'm thinking, there's no rain. And then I feel the back of my neck, and I'm soaking wet. I put the hood of the sleeping bag over my head, but I'd forgotten to put the hood of the beefy bag over me, and it had rained so hard that the lines of the hammock had dripped into the hammock. So the hammock on both sides was also wet, and the back of my neck was also wet. And this woman who I met walking out of Mill Street, she said to me, "You could get pneumonia going up there in the rain." And I'm thinking, oh, I've just become a candidate for pneumonia right there. But I peeked from underneath the tarpaulin when the sun came up, and what do I see? The blue skies. And I'm going, yay, blue skies. Let's go do this. Now, of course, I'm still wet and I'm still cold because in a beefy bag you can't dry out. And I didn't sleep very much. And because I didn't sleep very much, my appetite, it was gone. Like, I was so grateful that I had eaten all that food before I left. Because I, you know, a handful of peanuts every time I looked at the food. And that was it. Like, I took a bite of cheese and not even a slice of bread. I was just desperate. And I'm thinking, you have to get food in you, because if you don't eat, like with the cold, if you're that cold and that wet, you're better off having food in you. So every 10 minutes, I'd stop what I'm doing and try and eat a bit more. And I'm still shivering and I'm still feeling bloody needles everywhere. So, and I have to get all the lines again out of the conifers. And I'm like, my hands are all open. Oh, and I'm thinking now, I'm in the middle of bloody nowhere. Like, I'm in nowhere. Mushroom Mountain is behind me, and now I have to make my way over something like 17 or 18 kilometers to Green. And it is all windmills and forestry. There are no houses. It's bog. So I think, okay, better get going, because if I'm feeling like that, if I'm that cold and I'm that uncomfortable, there's a good chance I'll make a mistake or two navigating. And I was kind of thinking, well, 2 bits of open ground. Oh no, 3 bits of open ground. I'm gonna be okay. Right. So I get all my gear back into the bag somehow without taking the rain gear off the harp. But it's not dry, of course. None of it is dry. I tried to shake it out, but it wasn't dry. And I'm thinking, oh, just fingers crossed, like you've done really well keeping the harp dry in that dreadful weather. You made it up Mushroom Mountain. Now just go do this. Like, get your bottom to bring ASAP. And I start walking, and the sun comes up, and it is lovely. And I sit down, and I can feel I'm drying up a little bit. And I think, okay, I can do this. So we head over the first part was forestry paths, and you go to Knockdoof Windmill Park, and oh my God, like they're so big, they're so big, and what an odd combination: forestry and then felt forestry and then windmills. And for the windmills, it's all new paths, and for the forestry, some of it is, that was the other thing. Is I'm walking away, and where I had camped was a side road of fairly young conifers. But if I had only moved for another 400 meters or so, I would have been like in more adult woodland, and it would have been much easier to put up the hammock. But you don't know, like you don't know. And I was so cold and so wet that I just needed to stop, and I needed to stop before the sun went down. So I'm heading out of the forestry paths, and so Michael Crowley I met the day before, and then I saw two men coming out of nowhere with this beautiful, beautiful Belgian shepherd, and they're going like, "Where are you going? Like, what brings you here?" And I go like, I left Clonakilty 12 days ago, and now I'm here, and so what's in the bag? It's a harp, but I crushed my thumb, and they go like, well, good luck. Well, you're some hardy woman. Where did you sleep? Out in forestry there. Oh, you're some hardy woman. And I'm thinking, all I want to do is cry, like, because I'm still not dry, and I'm still shivering, and I just want to get there now. So I sit down again after a little while, and now, so it's that part of Knockduff is like peat bog, and you can see the parts where it's been cut, and now it's all left, of course, because there's no more cutting there. And who said it? Kevin Considine said to me, like, I think he now calls himself Global Pilgrim. He was telling me of a man, O'Keefe, who had shown him how to harvest the old-fashioned way. But I met no such man. No, there was nobody cutting peat whatsoever. But you can see it. It is really beautiful because it's so dark, and especially when it's been so wet. Like when you think about it, it's so wet, and that is what we used to burn. I love peat. Like, I'm sorry, I do. I really do. Peat fire is one of the best burning slow burners, and I love slow burning fires. But of course, the rest around it is all just wet, especially after 2 days of rain. So I have to pay attention because all the white grass and all the mossy bits, that is where there's lots of water, is very zompy. And I wet my feet the day before. I managed to put on clean socks, but I could feel there was something funny going on in my left foot. Turns out, of course, with the wet, I had a blister, it opened, and it's between the toes. Not nice. But that's what happens with the wet feet. So every time I stop, I try to take off my shoes so they can dry a little bit better, dry the socks. And then we get onto a bog road, and that bog road. Now I had seen that it would become a track, and then from a track it would become would go over open ground. Once we got on the track, What track? There was no track. There was no track. It was like this tiny little path over that had been worn down over an old track, and the track just sank into the ground, and you had to climb up and walk the ridge of whatever road used to be, and I could hear the river in front of me, and I'm thinking, I hope we can pass, like, because by now I'm definitely not going back. I'm 30 kilometers into 47. Mm. We get there, we can cross the bridge, okay, that's not a problem. But from where I'm standing, it's a good bit down. So there I go again with the staff and the harp on my back, and I'm thinking, please, please, please don't let there be any boggy, soggy bits that I fall into. And I'm sweating. By then, I'm sweating like there is no tomorrow. Just to focus and concentration and trying to keep myself steady. I make it down. I get over the bridge, and then I have to climb up, and I'm thinking, this is the track. We have to go over open ground after this. And I look up on the map, and it says maybe 400 meters between the track and the non-track. It was about a kilometer. It took me at least an hour and a half. It was dangerous, like it was lethal out there. And then by the end of it, it turned onto a track which was existent, which went down to another river. And here I literally had to turn around. I had to sit on my bottom, slide down, turn around, make big steps down, and then there was a river which had swollen, but there was no bridge, and they had like a steep step up, so really, really big steps. Now, this happened to me in the Alps as well, and it's really dangerous because you can slip, especially in the wet. It's really easy to slip, and there's these tiny little ledges. So I had done the ledges on Mushroom Mountain the day before that I looked down and went like, oh, I'm on a ledge. I can't go anywhere. Like if I go one way, I go into the bog, and if I go the other way, I go off the mountainside. So again, I was sweating, like sweating. But I kept breathing, and I took my time, and I did it one foot at a time. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like you shouldn't really have done this on your own. Like I should have gone there with somebody a bit more also quite experienced. Like the Holloway is stunning. Like if you're into that type of landscape, which I would be, like it kept making me think about Ireland like 1,000 years ago. The whole middle of the country was like this, like peat bogs. If it weren't, no, that's actually not true. There would have been forestry, there would have been natural forest. No, the middle would have been peat bogs. Like it was so hard to travel through that type of environment, and it made me think again about those Pilgrim Harpers. How did they get all that material through those bogs? Like, what kind of roads did they have? And did they really travel over? Like, now I'm traveling over the hilltops, yeah, and it is stunning. I'm so grateful I'm doing it. But the Duhalaway is not for the faint-hearted. Like, if you've done Camino, think about the Pyrenees times three, something like that, and then you're approximately there. Now, I'm sure that if it were like dry for about a week and you'd go in there, it's all very doable. It just ended up that I was there, after having spent a night in the rain, and it was just wet, 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 mucky and wet. But I got to the other side. I did do it. Made me feel very proud. And then I looked at the map again. Oh yeah, then I got a phone call asking would I be available for an interview with 103 FM. Now I I had a good experience with Patricia Messenger the last trip, so of course, I was going to do it. I said, as long as I have reception, grant. So, of course, the moment they called, I had no reception. I was somewhere in the bottom of this mountain thing, and they decided to do it a little bit later. So I found myself a nice little spot to rest again, a big stone to put the harp on, and so that it didn't have to be on the ground, and another stone for myself. We did the interview, and then I thought I read the map right or wrong. I wasn't sure, and I think I lost my place on the map. I was going too fast forward. And I was looking at it and I'm thinking, oh no, there's another third bit of bog to go through. I'm thinking, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do another one. So I decided to take a road which I already looked at when I set out this part of the route over Cooley. Now, it's just a straight road, yeah. So you come out of the forestry, and I thought, and then I'd be on a road, and all I had to do is turn. But I'm thinking, when am I going to get out of forestry? But I thought I was way ahead. I still had like a whole bit of bog road to do. And that bit was actually fine. It's next to, I think it's called Mossfield. And it's really, really, really pretty. It's desolate, yeah. You could see like half a farm at the bottom of the hill, and that was it. That was the first house I saw since yesterday evening. So I come off that, I take another rest because resting is like a big thing for my feet right now. My feet are really sore. Um, I get down to the main road and I turn right. All is going well, and all I have to do is not take the turn back into the bog, but take the next turn. And I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking, and then I see these two race bikers, motorcyclists, and we have a little chat. And they're standing on the turn, and I just walk by it. Like, hint, they were there. I should have turned. And what do? I just walk on straight 2 kilometers down the road. I'm thinking, where is that turn? It was back with the motorcyclist. So I had to turn around, go back up, and I'm thinking, no, I have to climb again. Now it wasn't a very steep incline, but it's already 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have to really start thinking about lifting my feet, and I can really feel that I haven't slept very well. Every time I sit down, I've got my eyes closed. Once the sun shines on me, I'm cold again. I've dried up, and Sean Harp seems to be fine as well. And we come to the end of Cooley, and I'm thinking, can I make it, or do I need to camp out again? Now, before I left, I had sent messages to both the community center here in Green, and to the local parish of the Church of Saint Columba. Um, but I had my phone powered down because I knew I would be out in the wilds for 2 days, and I was really only sending messages to two people, and the rest was just for navigation. So I'm thinking, okay, can I make it? I'm thinking, I don't think I can, because the distance is too long, and I've put extra distance on it, and I look at the map again, and I think what I could do is cut off the last bit, which was all over forestry tracks. But what? 6 kilometers instead of 3 over the road. So I'm thinking, okay, cut the 3 away, and maybe you can make it. But again, doubt, yeah, doubt is a bad thing. And my feet are hurting, so I have to sit down, take the shoes off, lift the legs, good few times. Again, more windmills, and it's all black. Like, I was thinking, that is one big windmill park. Like, that is one big farm. It really is very big. Now, I got into being literally at sunset. It was sunset. It made me think of Aberkenfig in Wales on the day that the Breton couldn't cope anymore and left. I had the same thing. Like I had no idea really what was going on. The only difference was is that this time I had sent 2 emails, and that day I hadn't sent anything to anybody or called anybody because I was kind of weird in my head about your man leaving. And I know there's a pub in Being. There used to be two. One of them isn't open anymore, but Molly's was still open. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got 18% left on my phone. That is still another 12 hours or so in low mode, but I want to charge my phone. And all I could think of in the middle of the night was cups of tea. Now, it was exactly the same as Aberkenfig. I walk into the door, there's a bunch of lads drinking pints, and a guy behind the bar. Now, this one had no blue eye, and I asked him, "Can I charge the phone?" Yeah, that's fine. And can I have a cup of tea? And there's laughter all around. Like, they thought it was hilarious. And then they asked me, "Do I know where I'm staying?" I'm going, no idea. But once I've got the phone powered up, I might, because I did send emails to the parish and and he goes, I said, and if there is no bed there, then maybe you could let your head go over this. Are there any options? So, phone is plugged in. This woman walks through the door with her husband. We have a really nice chat about kids and about walking and about what's in the bag. And and then when I was 69%, I check my messages, and lo and behold, the first one getting back to me is the parish center offering me to stay in the sacristy, which is where I am now. Now, after I had called Sean Kelly, who is the unofficial sacristan here, I've also found a message from the community center who also offered me a bed. So I was going to be okay no matter what. But of course, I had this thing of being outside in my head. I was really convinced I would have to stay out again. It's really nice to have 4 walls around me. Because yesterday it was really miserable. It really was miserable. I cried. I did. And I even said, my brother sent me a message late today saying, "Are you out of the wilds or do I need to come and look for you?" And I said, I'm not sure if I got it in me to go. And he said, "Listen, you've done this many times before. Just go do it. You can do it. Of course you can." And I'm really glad he said that because I just went like, okay, okay, I know, and this is how it always goes. So I called Sean Kelly, and he said, "I'll come and pick you up, and I'll bring you where you need to be, and I'll show you." The lady who had sent me the email said he'll show you where to hang your hammock. Of course, the sacristy itself, there is no place for hanging a hammock. And they've offered me a cup of coffee in the morning and maybe some toast and stuff. So it's all good. So I was very lucky. So the guy in the pub in Molly's bar, he gave me tea and he looked at it. He goes like, "I don't know if I got bickies." I said, "I don't need bickies. I've just been dreaming of cups of tea, like." And he goes like, "Oh no, sure, like." And he gave me a chocolate bar. So, and then I had a pint as well. I had a pint for the muscles, right? So yeah, I did it. I did it. I actually did. I did it. And from tomorrow, I'm on a different route again. I'm on the Blackwater Way, which goes into the Avondhu Way, I think, or it's all the same thing. And it's not always clear. Like this, anyway. From Mill Street onwards is the E8. Yeah. So the the route I just did is part of the E8, and then the Avondhu and the Blackwater Valley, they are all part of the E8. So, and that's the route I'll be following. Now tomorrow I'm heading for Mallow. I'm actually it's not warm here, but I have toilet, I have water, I have electricity. I just feel like a king, like really. And it feels very pilgrim. Uh, so I got my pilgrim's passport signed again. Yeah, I'm starting to get a real nice collection now. And I'm really glad I send messages to both the community hall and the parish. It feels really good. It's very pilgrim. Yeah. So that's my story up to now. Like, I think looking back now in Mill Street, I was worried with good reason. Like, it is, it's not for pussycats. I would say that 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 bit is it's a tough bit hiking, and it is. Kevin Considine said it to me as well. It's a very lonely, long stretch, and there is no way. I know some people think that you should walk that in one day, but you can't. The the odd exception there, of course. Most people walk between 20 and 25 kilometers a day. Like that's really all we can do. And the conditions were bad. So I'm very proud of myself that I made it. And even though I got lost and I got it all wrong, and yeah, it's good. I'm still kind of shaking. I'm starting to get my appetite back, so I'm gonna go eat something now, and then I'm gonna sleep because tomorrow is a shorter day, and in 2 days, but I don't know where I'm gonna be staying yet. So I have to figure out something. It's what we call a Dutch White Thursday. Good Friday, I will be in the Lanonego Center. Um, I spoke to Sister Lois, and Sister Lois said to me that I can come. So I'm very, very grateful for that as well. And now I'm going to go turn off the light. I'm going to eat, turn off the light, and go sleep. I have to get more stuff out of that bag. Like, somehow I have to find more stuff to leave behind. Not bring. Yeah. Now the next few days will be not as hard. Like there will be no more bogs, no more forestry. Not like I've seen in the past 2 days. I think I've had enough of that now for a little. I'm back at the rivers, back next to the water. Yeah. So this is the end of day 12. I'm Anya. Shawnee the harp is behind me there. I saw the church. I might actually sneak in tomorrow morning, play a tune. Tom is starting to get its feeling back. Now, it also changed color in the rain. It turned white. So it had a good washout. It hasn't seen any salt water in a while, but I've been taking arnica for it, and it seems to be healing okay. I had a little bit of itching, but that went away again, and I saw it was a little bit of wetness coming from underneath the nail. So I have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Thank you very, very much for being here with me. Mom, I know you're watching. I did it, Mom. Just like that. You would have loved it up there. Yeah, leave it up to me, yeah. No bother. No bother. I like that kind of adventure. And I have to say, like, it really was a test. It was a test of, I really thought a few times, I'm not so sure I can do this. When I saw those ledges after that river, I was like, I'll never get up there. I've done that in the Alps with Michelle, and I turned out my hip, and I was in pain for a good while after. I really thought, here we go again. Like, please don't hurt yourself. But so far, I'm blessed. Yeah, the weather was bad, but nothing bad happened. It would be easy to sink into the bog or hurt Shawnee or do silly stuff, break a foot, break a leg, hurt my feet. I didn't do any of those things. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for the place that I have tonight. And tomorrow is a new day. New day. It'll be day 13. Oh, day 13. Yeah, day 13. Yeah, day 13. Nothing will go wrong. It's just day 13, right? Malo. How hard can it be? Now, any other things? Any other things? I'm waiting for the website to be finished. I haven't checked it yet. I know there's lots of messages on social media. I'm really glad I didn't have anybody with me, although I was saying there earlier, it would be good to have another experienced hiker with me. But on the other hand, I like doing pilgrimage on my own. I didn't mind being alone. That's not my issue at all. For safety, you're better off with more numbers. But I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I did good, because it kind of says that maybe I can do it all. Okay, that's it for me for tonight. I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow. Good night. From here to Jerusalem, day 12 and 11. All done. Good night.